an approach for doing the thing in Excel. And this approach is known as the simplex algorithm. In an exam, for example, you will be given a full model or a full preamble for you to model, after which you will convert that to, the examiner will convert that to Excel for you. And then after the thing has been converted to Excel for you, it will be solved for you. After it has been solved, a series of questions will be asked you. And your job will be to address that. And that's exactly what I'm about to do here with you. So feel free and ask questions if you don't understand. So let's remind ourselves of the linear programming before we do the Excel. Let's remind ourselves. Perry is writing on the screen. I don't know why he is writing on the screen. Let me just delete what he has written. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to reformulate the linear. Please, can you all confirm whether you have opened your empty Excel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
And I'm about to open, actually I've opened, but I'm about to show you my Excel. Can you confirm if you can see my Excel?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Let me remind you of what the model is about. This was the original model, Z max equals to 40x1. You should write it somewhere in your book. 40x1 plus 50x2. Subject to 1x1 or x1 plus, what was it? 1x1 plus
2x2
equal to 40.
less than or equal to 40.
Then you have 3x1. Okay, 4.
No, 4x1
Plus
Plus
3x
plus
3x2.
3x2
less than or equal to 120.
And then, of course, you have your non-negativity constraint. So this is the model we're about to formulate and solve in Excel. Now, the first thing you want to do is to give it some names. So on the first cell, let's call it Farm Milk Ghana Limited. So you're going to call FMGL. So you're going to type FMGL, Farm Milk Ghana Limited. Then on the right, you're going to have Fan Yogo. Let's just call it Yogo. And then you're going to have Fan Choco. Let's call it Choco. And then you're going to have the profit or the Z function. So let's call it Z. Now, under the Farm Milk Ghana Limited, you should write DV for the decision variables. And then you should have the coefficient, write COEFF for the coefficient. Then you write constraints, just as I'm writing it here. You write constraints.
So please, can you start, please?
Don't you see my screen?
Yeah, but it's small from where?
It's because you are using your phone. Is that it?
No, I'm not using my phone. I'm on my laptop, but it's
If you're
small.
on your laptop, you should see it big. Is it small for everybody?
No, sir, it's okay.
No,
No,
sir.
I think you should double click on the small screen. So he's seeing your video on the larger screen and the word on the smaller.
Director, they are saying that you should double click on your screen, because I've actually maximized it a lot.
Thank you.
All right, so we should have what is known as the left-hand side as well as the right-hand side. So here, write usage, write in the same column as the Z, write sign, and then on the far right, write available, which is the right-hand side. Okay. So now you're going to put some values there. I'm going to put some values there for the DV. For the DV, you're going to put a value there. Right now, as it stands, we don't know the value of fan yogo. I know you have worked it. I know you have worked it, and I know you know it. But right now, as it stands, we don't know the value. Look on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side is the model. So we don't know the value. So we're going to put in this 0 there. We're going to put 0 there. These are called initialized values. Okay. And then below that, we know the coefficient. What is the coefficient of fan yogo? What's the coefficient of fan yogo?
40.
So you put it directly below the 0. Okay. You write 40. And then the coefficient of fan choco is 50. Put it directly below the choco, below the 0. And then on the right of that coefficient, you are going to write the formula for the z function. So you bring equal to symbol first. Follow me here. Follow me here, because you will see that if you don't follow me, you get stuck. So you write equal to, and as you can see up there in the formula on your right, you will select the coefficient, which is 40. I've just selected it. And then you can see that it is multiplying the x1. The x1 is the value we don't know yet, and that is a 0 here. So you bring the times, hold your shift key and select star for the times. And then you select the 0 under the yogo. Now pay attention here. Once you select the 0, you will press the function key to make it $. I don't know whether it's is it F4? FNF4.
Yes,
So it's FNF4 or F4. Either of them, you just
So
press that, and the $, will come in front and behind the B.
Shift F4 or just F4?
It is either Shift F4 or F4 or FNF4. Depends on the computer you are using. And I actually don't know which computer you are using. So start with F4. If that doesn't work, you do Shift F4 or you do FNF4. And that will bring the $, in front and behind the cell number.
So please, I'm not getting it.
Please, before the $, how did you get a star?
That's what I'm explaining. I said that, let me start again. Follow me here. I said you were going to get lost and you've gotten lost. Okay? So follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me one more time. Because you don't pay attention normally until you get stuck like this. You write the equal to symbol. You will select the 40. You will now do your times. Your times must show, as mine is showing. If your times is not showing, you cannot do the next one. Now, if you want the times and you can't see the times, you will see it on your keyboard. Some of you will have to shift before you do the times. Then after that, you select the 0 under the yogo. That empty space, the 0. You can see that now it is B2. Right after that, right after the B2, you either press the F4 key, which I just did, and it worked. But some of you, when you press the F4 key, the $, will not come. And so you have to press the FN, hold that down before you press the F4 key. And that is when the $, will come. I'll later tell you why we got to do this. After that, press the plus. And then you will do the same thing with the 50. Go and select the 50, like I just did. Do the times again. Say well, don't say you will. Now, some of you will be able to do it. Some of you will not be able to do it yet. But don't worry, you should go over it by watching the videos. That's how you learn.
The 2 didn't come.
What 2? We are not writing any 2. So when you say the 2 didn't come, it's not right.
I'm seeing $2 plus.
No,
like,
you are not supposed to type. You are supposed to select the cell. You are not selecting cell, you are typing. That's why you say it didn't come.
Please, I'm lost at B2.
No, you are not lost at B2. First of all, I need to know whether you started with cell A1, FMGL. Did you start there? You got to follow exactly what I have on my screen. And mind you, remember you should bring equal to sign before you do anything. If you are typing things without the equal to sign, nothing will show. That is why I've left this thing showing you. So you need to follow the thing. Some of you have not typed the equal to sign, and you are just wanting the B3, B2 to show. But that's not how it works.
So, sir, my issue is that when I select the 40 and the 0.
Have you typed the equal to sign before selecting the 40?
I have.
And when you selected the 40, what number showed? B3?
Yes.
Did you type your times?
Yes.
And then you after typing your times, you selected the 0 on top of the 40?
Yes, which is B2.
And then after the B2, you press on F4 function.
When I press on F4, it doesn't give me that $.
Yes, and I said that it won't give you. It won't give you for some of you. So you should press down the FN key before you press the F4. That part you didn't hear.
No, control, hold on FN, then F4. Maybe that's the right language you want to hear. So hold on it, and you click the F4.
Hold on the F4.
FN, then you press on F4.
Okay.
Are you using a MacBook or
I've
a
seen
Windows
it.
book?
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you.
Guys, you got to pay attention. See, you may be doing the thing, but you should be listening to me other than just doing the thing, because some of you just want to do it. So you want to be listening first. And it is the listening you ask, not the doing. When you listen and you don't hear, you say, what did I say? But not when you do it. Because when you do it, by that time, I have gone ahead. All right. So after the plus, you select the 50. After the 50, you click on your times. And after the times, you select the 0 on top of the 50 again. And then you press the F4 or FNF4 at the same time. And the dollar will come. After that, you enter. And you see that everything will be 0 there. But it's a formula that you see there. So you see everything will be 0, but there's a formula there. Okay. Be fast. Once you are done, go to the constraints, under the constraint, okay, which is here. Go to the constraints here. Under the constraint, type labor, because this thing was labor, so type labor. Under the labor, the next resource constraint was milk, so type milk. And those of you who have unmuted yourself, I will suggest that you mute yourself, because other than that, I'll be forced to mute everybody. So please mute yourself. When you have a question, then you unmute. Okay. So type the labor and then type the milk. It is at this stage that when you are not typing, you tell me you are not typing, not when we have gone forward. Okay. Then under the sign, type the less than sign. Hold the shift key and type the less than equal to. And just drag it to the down and it will be repeated. Under the available, Remember the labor hours was 40 hours. I'm looking on my right side. Everything I'm saying is on the right.
Under the sign, please.
Huh?
Can you please repeat under the sign?
Under the sign, write the less than, and then write the equal to symbol. The less than first, the equal to second, not the equal to first. Under the available, write your 140, and then below that, write your 120 for the gallons. Okay, now let's go to the middle part here. I'm highlighting that for a reason. The middle part here. This is a left part of the usage. That is what you see on this section here. So what I'm about to do is that I'm going to look for the numbers that are here. And I'm going to put those numbers in here. So the first one is for fine yogo, X1. What number is in front of this X1?
1.
1.
So under the yogo, but under the constraint, for the labor, you type 1, like I've just done. And then under the choco, what value is there? For that same labor?
2.
So you type 2. For the milk, under the yogo, what value do you have?
4.
So you type 4. For the choco, under the milk, what do you have?
3.
3.
So you type 3. Now, under the usage is the summation of all of them. But this usage is the same value we have here. That is the same value we have for the 0. So when you look at the 0 and you double click, you will see that it will show the formula you had. The dollar symbol is going to help us to automatically fill in the usage values. So how do you do that? Just go and copy this 0, Control C to copy, come and paste it under the usage. Control C to copy and paste it under the usage, as you can see I've done. And when you actually double click, you see that it is picking the decision variables that have been initialized to 0. It is picking them automatically because it's a formula. And it is also picking the labor constraint coefficient, which is exactly what we want. You did copy it and paste it. Do the same thing for the milk by dragging. Put the cursor in the cell, move to the bottom right. The cursor will turn from white to black. The cursor will turn from white to black. When it turns black, drag it, click and drag it down, and the same thing will populate down here.
Hey. Oh.
If you like, just copy from the above and paste it like you did before, without dragging. If the dragging is going to cause some problem. That's it. You have done formulating the whole model in Excel. You are now about to solve. If you did all correctly, when we start the solution, you will get the answers. Okay. Now, to do the solution, we are going to invoke something in Excel called solver. So on the far top left, you see File. Click on File and select Options. Click on File and select Options. Somebody will be delaying, and then when we have gone ahead, the person will say, click on what?
Sir, please, I'm lost.
Oh yeah, but when you say you are lost, there are so many things you'll be lost in. So being lost doesn't help. You just have to tell us where you are lost. But to say I'm lost, you have not spoken.
Sir, please, the usage, this thing. copying. I'm using my phone, so unless I type
You can't use
inside.
your phone for this course. Stop it. Don't even try to use your phone. This is not phone work. It's laptop work. Precious.
Hello, sir. Please, I need clarity on the DV. What does it mean, sir?
Decision variables. We said it the last time.
Okay, sir.
Sir, is what was using Max? I don't know where we are supposed to find the options.
I said click on file and you see Excel options or you see option. If you're using MacBook, I don't really know how you work it out. MacBook will require you to use a different approach. You have to use control something. I'm not so sure. So double check it, Alfred. Is it Alfred who has a question?
No, Doc, I think it was someone else. I happen to be using Google Sheets, Google Spreadsheet.
Guys, use Windows for life, easy life. Okay, the kind of things we are doing. You see, you people are using mobile phone. You are using Google Sheets. You are using certain things. When this thing is pure computer work, not online thing. This is a serious modeling you are doing. And you can't play with it by using mobile phone, Google Sheet. Go and use Windows Excel. And let's work with that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So please, under the usage, when I try to drag the zero down.
You can't drag it down. You should copy it from where the Z value was 0. You should copy and come and paste.
Up there, okay.
Copy and come and paste under both the labor section for usage and milk section for usage. Yes, Abubakar.
To also give a comment to say, you can copy, you right click and paste function. If you don't want to drag and difficulty, you copy, right click and paste function. It will paste
Yeah,
the
but
function.
when I paste mine, it becomes 6. I don't know why.
It simply means your formula you had there is wrong.
Okay.
So go and check the formula. When you double click the formula, you will see, check whether it's the same as what you see on the screen.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, where there is A0, can you please go over the formula again, please?
Where the Z is 0?
Yes.
You mean what I'm showing right now?
Let me see.
Yeah, you got to be seeing what I'm doing, guys, before you ask your questions.
Yes,
because
yes,
it's a
sir.
screen thing.
Yeah, what you are showing now, sir.
You can look at it and just copy the same thing. Type the same thing.
This, no, mic times. Okay, can you?
You're disturbing everybody. I had to meet you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
And please, is there a reason why the decision variables are represented by 00?
Yes, because when you are starting the modeling, you don't know their values yet. Remember that in the mathematical simultaneous equation, you didn't know their values until you had them to be 24 and 8.
Okay,
sir. Calculated it. So that's what we are doing. We are modeling, so we don't know their values.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yes, Tina. Yes, Abdullah. All right, so no hand is up. Let's move on. So at this stage, we are about to model. So click on File and choose Excel Options or Options. A pop-up will show. Follow me. Follow me. You are doing your own thing. When we are ahead, you will come and say that you got lost because you are not following. Isaac.
Yes, sir. Please, at the labor in the milk, the 1 and 4, I get it, but the 2 and 3, that figures under the choco. Where was it from? Thank you.
Don't say thank you. Are you seeing what I've written on the right here in red? Are you watching what I have written on the right in red?
Yes, please. Sure. Okay, thank you, sir.
You are not watching. Guys, I encourage you to watch my screen. Don't be doing your own thing. Watch my screen, because whatever I am modeling, I have put it here for you to see. All right, so let's move on. So choose File, Excel Options, and then a pop-up will show. In that pop-up, go to Add-ins. Follow me here. Go to Add-ins on the far left. Go to Add-ins. And then you see that on the right, you will see something that shows solver adding. Solver adding. You might see it in the disabled section. As you can see here, disabled. So click on it. Click on the solver adding. And then you will see down here under manage. You will see down here under manage. And then you will select the Excel adding and make sure you have, okay, it's already selected. So you just click on go. Click on go. A pop-up will show. In that pop-up, you will see solver adding. Just check the box on the left of solver adding, like I just did. Check that box. And once it is checked, click OK. Once it is checked, click OK. Now, to be sure that it is invoked, to be sure that the solver parameter dialog box is invoked, click on the data tab at the top. Click on the data tab at the top. When I say data tab, it is somewhere here. Click on the data tab. And once you do that, on the far right, you should see the solver there. You should see the solver, right, far right. If you don't see the solver there, let me know.
Sir,
You don't see the solver. Did you go through the Excel options I told you?
Yes, please.
No, you didn't. If you did, you will see.
I'm seeing just green thing at the end, the share.
I said you should click on the data tab first.
Yes, I
And
did.
if you don't see the solver adding, go through the process I went through with you again. First, click on the file, click on options, and select add-ins.
Look, let me add, if your screen is small, maybe it's maybe minimized. So if you see the analyze, open Excel.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah.
I also don't see the solver. So say if you go back to file.
Go to file options, and then add-ins.
Okay. Okay, so adding.
Select the solver add-in. Scroll through the entire list and you see solver add-in. Select it and at the bottom of this, that pop-up.
Yes, Doc.
Click on go.
Okay. Go, okay.
Hello, Doc. Yes, stop with the Mac users. When they click on data, they can click on analysis and then take the solver option.
When they click on data,
yes, they can click on analysis tools and then take the solver option.
Okay, guys, you got it.
So analysis toolpack, solver adding.
If you see it
Hassan, what's your question?
So I've seen so I should click on the solver adding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doc, not if you don't tick the box, it will not appear. So if you just don't click, just tick the box, make sure it is marked like you're marking a script or something.
Yes, the last option, solver adding.
Yes.
Then okay.
Yeah, what he's saying is that don't just click on solver adding. Look on my screen and you understand. You have to check the box. I've used the word check the box.
Okay, okay. So Doc, you
right.
check both boxes.
Master,
The
just
full
check
pack-
solver adding, no other box.
Okay.
If you go and do so many things, your this thing will delay. Okay, so now click on the data tab, everybody, and click on solver. This is where it gets interesting. So it's important that you are following at this stage. Click on the data analysis at the top. Click on solver. The solver parameter dialog box will open, just as mine has opened. At this stage, you want to be watching mine a lot whilst you are doing yours. Now, the first thing that you see in the solver parameter dialog box is set objective. The set objective is actually your objective function. In our own, in the Excel, the objective function is that 0. That formula that is now showing 0, which is at D3, cell D3. So under the set objective, delete whatever is there, and then go and select. So click and delete whatever is there. Go and select the D3, in my case, the D3, which is showing 0. So you see that cell collected in the set objective. Okay, so the set objectives have been done. The next thing is to remember to choose maximize or minimize, whichever one you're doing. In our own, which one are we doing?
Maximize.
You can see that that one has been pre-selected, so you leave it as it is. The next thing is to come down to by changing variable cells. Click inside the white space there. By changing variable cells. What is that? That is the decision variables. That is our DV, which have now been initialized to 0 and 0 for Yogo and function. So while the cursor is blinking at the by changing variable cells, go and click on the first 0 under the Yogo and drag it to the second 0 on the right. They will be collected in the by changing variable cell as B2 colon C2. They will be collected there as B2 colon C2. We are done. Now go to the subject to the constraint. Click on the white space under the subject to the constraint. You see some zigzag glass, some dot, horizontal line, horizontal box. Once you see that, click on the right, you see add. Click on add. A pop-up is about to show. The pop-up is known as a constraint parameter dialog box. It has a left-hand side, a sign, and then a right-hand side. The left-hand side is called cell reference. The right-hand side is called constraint. Your cursor should be blinking on the left-hand side. Whilst your cursor is blinking on the left-hand side, if it is not blinking, click the left-hand side, the box. And then go and select all the elements under the usage. So click on the 0 under the usage and drag it to the next 0. When you exceed it, like I have exceeded it, come back and make sure you have selected only these 2. So make sure you've double checked and selected. You will see D5 column D6. Once you are done with that, click on the right side under the constraint. Click on the right side under the constraint. This right side refers to the available in your Excel. So under the available, while the cursor is blinking in the box up there, click on the 40 and drag it to 120. Click on the 40 and drag it to 120. And you are done. If there's any more constraint, we would have continued by clicking add. But if there's no more constraint, as it is in our case, we will just click OK and go to the next. So click on OK. Once you click on OK, it will bring you back to the subject to the constraint. When you go down small, you will see a checkbox which says make unconstrained variables non-negative. Make unconstrained variables non-negative. You see that here. And then you have a select a solving method. It already has GRG nonlinear. Click on it and choose simplex linear program. Click on it and choose simplex linear program. And you're done. Once you are done with that, you're about to click solve. Click on solve. And then it will solve the whole thing. And it will give you something. It will tell you that solver found a solution. All constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. At this stage, on the right, you have reports. Reports. Click on the sensitivity report. And click OK. A new sheet is going to be created. Click on the sensitivity report and click OK. A new sheet will be created. And the screen will just, whatever you have on the screen will just go to the new sheet. There you go. Now, if you don't find the new sheet, come down, you see sensitivity report 1. And that will show this sheet which you are watching on the screen. You should have something like this as your sensitivity report. Raise your hand if you have done this. You can see that quite 24 people, 29 people have done it. So that is good. The rest of you, let me be sure that you've done it. Well, actually, once you have more than 20 people have done it, all right, so what we want to do now is there are about 13 different questions you will answer. Please, you can lower your hands now. There are 13 different questions you will answer when it comes to the sensitivity report, and we are going to answer these same questions right here, right now. So you can be following this in your slide. Let me just go back to the slide so that I can show you some of the things we have done throughout already. So everything I'm showing you here, we have done it. We have done it. We have done this. We have done all of this. We have done all of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, have you maximized your screen?
It's a maximize. What do you mean by maximize?
I think like in terms of increasing your screen.
Well, I don't know why you're asking that. You can ask me exactly what you want to have. All right. So I have some questions for you from the sensitivity report. And there you go. So this is a sensitivity report, but we have just confirmed how we did it. So please mute yourself, Abigail, so that you don't disturb everybody. So the first question you are going to address is something like this. And please, you want to write it down. From the sensitivity report, what is the optimal solution to this Farm Mill Ghana Limited problem? Write it down in your book because it will help you than just listening to me. Okay, have you written the questions? So who can give me the answer to this question? Suppose you have formulated your model already, a sensitivity report has been generated for you. And then you are being asked the question, just looking at what you have on the screen, you are being asked that from the sensitivity report, what is the optimal solution to the Farm Mill Ghana Limited problem? And all you have is this sensitivity report. How will you answer it, Bernard?
Yeah, hello, sir. So from the sensitivity report, we are going to take the figures under the final value for Fan Yogo and Fan Choco. So 24 packs of Fan Yogo and then 8 packs of Fan Choco.
We never use the word packs. We never use the word packs. What was the unit of measurement? All right, so you're supposed to use the word sachets. So the way you will answer it is that the optimal solution for Farm Mill Ghana Limited is to produce, that's how you put it, 24 sachets of Fan Yogo and 8 sachets of Fan Choco. That's it. You will always get this kind of question. Not exactly the same, but this kind of question. Let's go to question 2. Question 2. How would you address this question 2? The question is, what is the corresponding value of the objective function? It is like saying that after you have found how many sachets of yogurt and chocolate produce, what is the corresponding profit for the company? That's another way of putting it. The objective function value is always the Z profit or the Z cost. If it is profit, you know. If it is cost, you know. Or the cost. So who can tell me, using the sensitivity, how will you be able to find the corresponding objective function value? Just looking at on the screen. How will you work it? Well, first of all, you must have the model in your mind. The model has some elements, and the elements are 40x1 plus 50x2. So how do you actually find the objective function value using the Excel? This is it. Write this down. The Z value, okay, is always equal to the final value multiplied by the objective coefficient plus the next final value multiplied by its corresponding objective coefficient. That is what will give you the Z value. So who can tell us how to work that?
Doc, please repeat the statement for me.
Are you watching the screen? Are you watching my screen?
Yes, please, I'm watching. But I'm
Okay,
trying to take the information down, then I can understand.
Read what I've written. Let me see.
You said the Z value is always equal to the final value multiplied by this objective coefficient. That's what I heard. That's why I'm asking that you repeat.
Yeah, so that's what you just repeated. And continue.
Okay, plus the final value times the objective coefficient. Okay, thank you.
So you see, you are learning together with watching. If you remove one of them, you're not going to get it. So you should check the final value here. And then you should check the objective coefficient is a sum product of the two. Who can tell me the final answer to this question?
1360.
Okay.
Sachets.
So that's question number 2. Let's go to question number. I've given you the different ways that question can be asked. What is the reduced cost value for each variable? So I want you to look at, for each of the decision variables, they each have a reduced cost value. The reduced cost value for Fan Yogo is 0, and the reduced cost value for Fan Choco is also 0. But what does the word reduced cost actually mean? Well, before I tell you what it means, I also want you to know that another name for the reduced cost value is known as the dual value. Write it down. The dual value. What is the reduced cost value? Well, first of all, you will notice that every decision variable has got a reduced cost value. The value can be positive, it can be negative, it can be 0. When it is negative, we are mostly in a maximization problem. And when it is a positive, we are mostly in a minimization problem. But what is that? The reduced cost value represents, and write it down, it represents the opportunity cost of producing the decision variable. Write it down. It is opportunity cost of producing the decision variable. Who can tell me the opportunity cost of this class right now for you? Who can tell me the opportunity cost of doing this class right now? What is opportunity cost? Nana, I said dual value, yes. Elliot.
Yeah, please being at a funeral.
Exactly. What is another opportunity cost of doing this course?
Sleep.
Elizabeth.
Of going to see my mom.
Going to see one?
My mother.
Ah, you.
Money.
Abigail.
So, being at work and maybe getting some overtime money.
Okay. So many people are saying sleeping. Sleeping at this time. Others are saying my friends outdooring.
Mgt special.
Mgt special.
A wedding.
A wedding you are attending. Good. So you can see that the opportunity cost of doing something is the next best alternative for gone. Somebody says watching Premier League, but I don't think the Premier League has started.
Not yet.
They said you are going to rinse to wait for the Premier League. That's what you mean. So somebody says news fact. Oh my goodness. So clearly speaking, the opportunity cost is supposed to be something that is good for you, that you would want to spend some time or money on. But here's a question now. What is the opportunity cost of producing Fanyogo? According to this story we are having on our screen, the opportunity cost of producing Fanyogo is 0. What does that mean? It means that if you decide not to produce Fanyogo, or let me put it this way, if you decide to produce Fanyogo or Fine Choco, you lose nothing. You lose 0. Write it down. But if the opportunity cost was a particular value, say -5 or -6, Augustina, what's your question? Augustina, after marking, what's your question?
Sir, please, I wanted to do a contribution, but I thought I've lowered the hand when you were saying what is our opportunity costs. Sorry, please.
All right now. Lower your hands. It looks like she doesn't know how to lower hands. All right. So the opportunity cost of producing Fanyogo is 0, which means you don't lose anything if you produce Fanyogo. Well, that is actually true because, and you're going to see this very soon, because the reduced cost value is a punishable value, telling you what you are losing in case you go ahead and produce the Fanyogo. Okay. Now, let's assume that right now, what is the value of Fanyogo? It's 24. Let's assume that Fanyogo's value was no longer 24, but it was rather 0. If if the Excel has given you the value to be 0, then the reduced cost or the opportunity cost value will not be 0 as it is now. It will be, it will be a certain value in absolute terms. So let's assume that the value is not 0. The reduced cost value is not 0. Let's assume that the value is, say, -5. What would that mean? It means that, okay, who can tell me? What would that mean? Suppose the reduced cost value is -5 and find your goal value is 0. What would that mean, Foster?
It means if you want to produce find your goal, you are going to lose 5. That is the -5 you are going to lose.
Yeah, but you can't say -5 you are going to lose. You can say 5 you are going to lose, but not negative.
Okay. All right.
Does it make sense? Because the fact that it's negative itself is a loss. So if find your goal value is 0, it means that the Excel is telling you that don't produce find your goal. That's what it means. It means that the Excel is telling you don't produce it. But if you're forced to produce it, if you're forced to make it no longer 0, but positive, if you want to produce find your goal, then there is a cost incurred for forcing to produce it when you're not supposed to produce it. And that cost incurred is the reduced cost value. It's opportunity cost. Keep that in mind. Of course, the question now becomes, what is the maximum value that you can produce? Or what is the minimum price that will prevent you from producing it? Because, look, guys, watch this. If Farm Milk Ghana Limited was producing 0 Find Your Goal, it means that he's actually telling the manager that don't produce Find Your Goal. And the reduced cost value is, say, -5. He's also telling the manager that, manager, I've told you not to produce. So if you force and produce it, you incur, -$5. You will incur that loss of $5. So don't do it. Okay, don't do it. Okay. But the reason why he wants to do it is that he wants to do it because he wants to sell more of the Find Your Goal to make more money. So what will make him sell it without incurring that cost? What will make him, what should be the price actually? Because as it stands, if it is 0, it means that he's not supposed to produce it. But for him to produce it, there must be a corresponding price. Now watch this. The corresponding price is the objective function value. I'll come to that. In fact, let me go to the Excel and demonstrate this thing for you. It will make it, because it's a deep question on this that you have to understand. So guys, I'm going to create a sensitivity report too. Okay. So right now, let's make the price of Fine Choco 20. Okay. Let's still make all of this 0 again. Okay. I'm changing the price of Fine Choco to be 90. And I'm going to run the model again. I'm going to run, you don't have to do this, but if you want to do it, I'm going to. Okay, and I'm going to create a new sensitivity report again. So watch the new sensitivity report right now. You can see that with the new sensitivity report, it is telling you that Find Your Goal is what? 0. Which means that don't produce Find Your Goal as it stands now. And that if you want to force to produce Find Your Goal, you are going to incur an opportunity cost, which is $5. But you see, because you are producing Fine Choco, which is 20, you are not incurring any opportunity cost. Now, the question is that, looking at the fact that now you are not supposed to produce Find Your Goal, what will force you to now produce it? Because right now you don't want to produce it. Now, if somebody says, but I want you to produce it for me. In any case, why didn't you produce Fanyego? Because look at it, the coefficient, the profit contribution is just 40. That is why he chose not to produce it, because the profit contribution is small. Okay, then the person says, okay, how much do you want the profit contribution to be? How much do you want the price of Fanyego to be to motivate you to produce it? That is where you look at allowable increase. I'll come back to that though. But then the allowable increase should be the value you should add to the existing coefficient, making it 45 in this case. If I increase this thing now to 45 and rerun the model, you will see that Fanyego will now not be any more zero, it will rather be positive. If you like, let's go and check. Let's go here to the model. Let's change this Fanyego value, a coefficient, which is 40. Let's change the 40 now to 45. But let me add a little bit to it. Oh no, let's just keep 45. Okay. And just keep the values here to still be zero. Okay. And then rerun the model again. So I'm just going to rerun the model again. This is our sensitivity analysis. I'm running the model again. I'm solving, and I'm clicking. And we're going to have sensitivity report 3. So look on down there, you're going to see that I'm going to create sensitivity report 3. Let's check the sensitivity report 3. Oh, it's still zero. It's still zero. So, and I understand, but you can see that the reduced cost value is zero now because we were at the junction. So that's why probably the best I should have done was to add one more. Instead of 45, let's just make it 46. 46. Just a little bit more, and it becomes positive this time. Okay. So I'm just going to change the value here to be 46, and let's run it. And I guarantee you this time, Fanyego will no longer be zero, it will be positive. So that is sensitivity report 4. There you go. So you can see that in this sensitivity report 4, okay, now Fanyego is now positive, 24. So the reduced cost value is actually the opportunity cost of producing the thing. That is a punishment you get for producing the thing. But if you decide not to produce it, it's because you are not supposed to produce it. But if somebody says that, okay, but I still want you to produce it, then you say that, okay, then I want you to increase the coefficient value to a certain number. And what is the maximum you can increase it? The maximum you can increase that coefficient is by the allowable increase. Let's go back to our slide. Then we look at the next question, because I'm going to ask you a question which you have already answered. And here's the question. The question is, why does the reduced cost column contain zeros? In this, our original example, you can see that the reduced cost value contains zeros. Why? Who can tell me why? Why? Nyako.
Okay, so to me, I would say because at this juncture we have a break even.
Okay, where is that?
So please come again.
Where is that break even?
So break even in the sense that where we used or we increased by the allowable increments over there, and we are able to produce the final value as in 24 as against 8. The profit contribution, looking at the profit contribution at this juncture, there wouldn't be any loss or gain. That is why I see it to be the break-even point.
Yeah, don't see things to be break-even point, Maza. Don't see things. These are numbers.
Or the break-even value. Sorry, sir.
Yes, still, you can't see things. You can't see things. It's numbers. The numbers should talk, not how you feel. Let's go to another to tell us this. Eric Edu.
Hello, sir. So, sir, what you said was that if the reduced cost or the opportunity cost is zero, what it essentially means is that if you decide, for example, not to produce fine yogo, you lose nothing. And also, if you decide to not produce fine choco, you don't also lose anything. So that's my understanding of the reduced cost being zero here.
I'm an out. Bernard.
Okay, so I would say at this point, the resources have been fully optimized. You fully utilize the resources to maximize your profit.
We have also said that there will be a credit.
That is why what?
That's why the reduced cost is zero.
Okay, Joseph.
So from what I got from your explanation, if you decide to produce an additional value, the additional cost will be zero.
All right. So the reason why the reduced cost value is zero is because we are producing. Simple. That's it. We are producing. As you can see, we are producing 24 and 8. That's it. We are producing. Well, as long as you are producing objective function value, the reduced cost value will be zero. We are producing. Because the values for the X1 and X2 are positive. We are producing. We are producing. Or the opportunity cost of producing them is zero. In other words, there is no opportunity cost of producing. Understand it, because the question could have been changed. Let's go to the next one. Yes, Eric.
Okay. So you mentioned that the opportunity cost could be positive, negative, or zero. And I mean, you took the negative to mean you will lose that amount if you decide to produce a particular item. What if it's positive? How do you interpret that?
It is positive in a minimization problem.
Okay.
When you are trying to minimize cost. So you are minimizing cost and you have a value, which is which in this case is a reduced cost value to be positive. Remember that you are trying to cut down certain resources. I've not taught you guys a lot about minimization. But minimization is where you have certain resource requirement needed to produce a certain thing. For example, let's say that you are preparing cake, and this cake you are preparing requires you to use a certain amount of sugar. Would you like to use a bucket of sugar, or you would like to use a cup of sugar? Just give me your thought. Don't say it depends, but let's take it depends away. Which one would you want? Would you be using a bucket of sugar, or using a barrel of sugar?
So I think if I'm looking at minimizing my cost, I would want to pay the least amount for my input. So a barrel and a bucket, I think a bucket is smaller, so I'll pay less. So I would be looking at buying a bucket of sugar.
Well, not because it's smaller, but it's because you don't want too much sugar. That's the point. There's always a lot of sugar you should have. See, resources are good. You want more. For example, when we started talking about the hours, you want more hours. You want more gallons of milk because resources are scarce, so you normally want more. But for this particular resource, you want less of it because too much of the sugar is a problem. So there are some resources you don't need to. Look at salt. Okay, the fact that you want more meat doesn't mean that you should want more salt. So there are some particular resources you don't want them. So you want to reduce them. Now, in a minimization problem, because you are trying to cut down your cost. So sometimes there are certain situations where you want to cut down your cost, and there is a minimum requirement that you should have. Of course, in this sugar case, if you also go and take just 1 cube of sugar, you will never be able to produce a good cake. So there is also a minimum requirement of sugar to have. Okay, so with that in mind, the reduced cost value is going to be positive, because when it is positive, it will then be subtracted. But in the maximization, the reduced cost value is going to be negative, because when it is negative, it is negated again, and the negative becomes positive. You will see this a lot when we come to the next sort of questions that we will come to in the next few minutes. All right, let's go to binding constraint. Write this down. A constraint is binding. The question says which constraints are binding. First of all, you need to know what a binding constraint is. A constraint is binding when the left-hand side equals the right-hand side of the constraint. Write it down. When the left-hand side equals the right-hand side of the constraint. So let's look at some of the constraints there. If you look at a constraint, we have labor and then milk. Who can tell me what is the left-hand side of the constraint in this story? What is the left-hand side of the constraint? What is representing the left-hand side of the constraint? What is representing usage? Is your own. Bernard.
So is the final value of the constraint.
Excellent. Guys, if you don't know, write it down. So the final value of the constraint represents the left-hand side of the constraint. What is representing the right-hand side of the constraint? That one is obvious. We've actually written RH side. Okay, keep that in mind. Remember that the left-hand side of the constraint is the same as the usage. And the right-hand side of the constraint is the same as the available. When is a constraint binding? I said a constraint is binding when the left-hand side of the constraint equals the right-hand side of the constraint. So now look on the screen. Which constraints are binding? Emmanuel.
Labor usage.
Which constraints are binding?
Hello, sir.
Right.
Yes, I think the two constraints are all binding. Because if you look at the table, labor, the right-hand side is 40 and the left-hand side is also 40. And the same thing applies to milk.
Good. So that's what we mean by a binding constraint. Another way of explaining a binding constraint is a constraint where all the available resources have been used. All the available resources have been used. That's a binding constraint. Another way of explaining a binding constraint is a constraint where slacks are 0. Write it down. A constraint where slacks are 0. What are slacks? Slacks are unused resources. Unused resources. Unused resources. Actually, slacks are the right-hand side minus the left-hand side. That's slacks. So if you take the right-hand side value minus the left-hand side value, that is slacks. So do we have labor slacks?
No.
No, there's no labor slacks. Do we have milk slacks?
No.
No, there's no milk slacks. Therefore, labor and milk are both binding constraints. Binding constraints. Just jumped this thing. Okay. So, any question on the slacks? I think so which constraints are binding? You've answered that. Okay, very beautiful. The next thing is the shadow price. Note it down. You can see the shadow price here. The shadow price. What is the shadow price? The shadow price is the dual value. Okay. What is the shadow price? I think I made a mistake by indicating that the reduced cost is the dual value. No, the shadow price is the dual value. And what is the shadow price? The shadow price is the marginal value on the profit or the Z function. The marginal value on the Z function when the right-hand side of the constraint changes by 1 unit. Write it down. So in short, the shadow price tells you by how much the Z changes if the right-hand side of the constraint should change. It is a change in the Z value resulting from a change in the right-hand side of the constraint. Now, if you can remember, the right-hand side of the labor constraint is 40. The right-hand side of the milk constraint is 120. So it's telling you that if this labor should change by 1 unit, so let's assume that it's 40 hours of labor. If it goes up by 1 hour, okay, how is that going to affect the profit in this case? If the right-hand side should go up by 1 unit, I'm going here to show you something. These are all exam questions. So change in the right-hand side, that is labor. Okay. Change in the right-hand side, labor on the right-hand side. As a result of the change, I swapped it. Yes. Change in the Z value as a result of the change in the right-hand side of labor. Right-hand side of the constraint for labor. How will it happen? So it's simply a matter of saying dz dl. Dz dl. How does the Z value changes if there's a change? And I'm giving a specific example that suppose, listen carefully guys, suppose that the right-hand side of labor, which is 40 hours, suppose this 40 hours should increase by just 1 unit. What will happen to profit? Profit will increase by the shadow price. So profit will increase by 16. I hope you guys are following. Profit will increase. And the same way, if it falls, if the hours of labor falls from 40 to 39, it means profit will fall by $16. By $16. Who is not clear? So let's take an example. I have an example here. Okay, let's take an example. Remember that the shadow price can increase or decrease the decision value. So we go to the question on the shadow price. If management could obtain additional resources, which one would be of most value to them and why? So looking at the resources, if they were to go for extra resource, if they should go for extra resource, which one will be of most value to them and why? Bernard.
So they will go for labor because it has a higher marginal value to profits than milk.
Simply say he has a higher shadow price. One other kind of working transaction. Yes. He has a higher shadow price. Okay, good. Now it comes to the next question. Because the question of shadow price is not all based on this. But you see, you have to know that even though you are increasing the labor, there's a limit to which they can increase the labor hours. You realize that?
Yes, sir.
Up to what level?
Up to 80.
Up to 80. Up by what level? Up by what level?
By 40.
By 40. Guys, I understand this. Oh, you don't understand. And this guy is talking plenty. And you won't ask why. You won't ask why. And he's talking. You will change the marking scheme.
Yeah, can you explain? I'm a little confused.
So if I have not said that, you wouldn't have said you are a little confused. Ask him why you are a little confused. Tell him why.
I'm not sure where he's getting the, what's the name? The 80 from.
Good. Director, explain to him.
Okay, so per the schedule, you have an allowable increase of 40 for milk, allowable increase of 40 for labor and milk respectively. So that means that on the constraint side, you can only increase up to a maximum of 40 for labor and milk respectively. Yes, sir, please.
Does he understand? Because I was waiting for him to confirm.
No, I haven't. I mean, he just repeated what he said initially.
Listen, we are learning. Do I have to tell you whether you understand or you don't understand before you say you haven't? Yes, you're acting like you're in class 1. Somebody has explained something. You didn't understand. You can say that, please, can you repeat what you said because I didn't understand. I have to wait for about 7 seconds telling you that I hope you understand before you say you haven't.
No, he doesn't need to repeat what he said, because if he repeats it, it will be the same thing. He has to further explain it.
No, you are supposed to say that you don't understand. It doesn't necessarily mean that he has to repeat it. By you saying you don't understand, then I will even come in because he has finished. And he needed your attention to say whether or not. Anyway, let's go to Kafi.
Yeah. Yes, I was going to say that the discussions we are having is on the sensitivity report to 1. I think because we are all watching your screen, so if we could move there, I think that's where the confusion is coming from.
But I'm showing that, or I'm not showing that.
No, you are showing sensitivity 4.
Oh, wow, sorry.
Yeah, so that's where the entire confusion is coming from. So if we could go to 1, and I think that will bring some.
Well, I've opened a lot of things on my screen.
Yeah.
So it's good you have even brought this up.
Yeah.
So now what you see on the screen, do you see what you see on the screen?
Yes, so I think this is where that will help guide the conversation. Yes.
Explain it to him now, using the information here.
No, myself, I'm confused. That's how I was bringing it back because there are a lot of numbers on the other ones. Yeah, but I think this will bring some uniformity in the conversation.
Yeah, Joseph Myers.
Can I try? Okay.
So what Doc is saying is the shadow price represents how much we can increase the right-hand side constraints. Or let me say, sorry, the constraints for labor and milk. But we can't increase them indefinitely. So the allowable increase and the allowable decrease is telling us the margin to which we can increase by. So what it's saying for labor is that if we can do 40 hours, you can increase up to 10. So that makes it 50. And for milk usage, if you have 120, we can increase by 40 to get it to 160. Beyond that, the solution is not solvable.
Very good, very good. Theophilus, your hand is up.
Hello, Doc. From my understanding, the shadow price has to do with the contribution to the profit or the Z. And the allowable increase has to do with the unit that the model allows. And the allowable decrease has to do with the unit that must be reduced for the model to be feasible.
And you actually saying, Masa, you are not helping the guy. You are talking big grammar. Yes, Eric.
I have a question different from the gentleman's.
Before you come to your question, let me summarize this.
Okay.
So, guys, the shadow price tells you by how much profit is changing. If you change this right-hand side value, one of the right-hand side value is labor. If you increase labor by 1, profit is going to increase by 16. If you increase gallons of milk by 1, profit will increase by 6. That means that if you increase gallons of milk by 2, profit will increase by what?
12.
By 12.
32.
What is 32? I say milk.
12.
By 12.
Oh,
the same way, if you increase profit, milk by 3, profit will increase by what?
18.
18. What you are doing is that you are multiplying the change by the 6, which is the shadow price. Now, let me go to a certain question quickly. So my question was, which one would you want to increase? Suppose you had the option, okay, and you have to increase labor by 1 or gallons by 1. Which one will you go for? You go for labor. Why? Because when you increase labor by 1, profit will go by 16. But if you increase gallons by 1, profit will only rise by 6. Okay. Now, but you see that increasing labor by 1 will move the labor from 40 to 41. If you increase labor by 5, it will increase labor from 40 to 45. If you increase labor by 20, it will move it from 40 to 60. If you increase labor by 30, it will increase from 40 to 70. But there is a limit to which you can be increasing labor. The allowable increase will tell you that limit. The allowable increase here is 40, which means that you cannot increase labor by more than 40. The maximum you can increase labor by is 40, which means the maximum you can increase labor to is 80. And the minimum you can reduce labor hours is by 10. That's the minimum. So you can cut down labor from 40 all the way to 30. You can't cut it below 30. The allowable increase and the allowable decrease are the sensitivity ranges by which you can affect labor. Okay, now, Masa, let's go to your question.
Okay, sir. So, I mean, maybe I'm stuck on the constraints. You see, the constraint said that for labor, we are restricted to maximum of 40. So are we saying then that in some scenarios we can violate this constraint? Because if you give me a scenario where you said you can't get labor beyond 40 hours, then why are we getting these allowable increases? That doesn't mean there's some bit of...
Where did this you can't get labor beyond 40 hours?
So the question that we solved, it was subject to less or equal to 40.
It was subject to how much hours of labor was available, isn't it?
Yes.
It was what was available. I mean, you and I both know that we all work 40 hours a week.
Right.
That is what we all have as available. But it doesn't mean that we can't work overtime.
Okay.
So that principle of the possibility of increasing labor is practically dealing with overtime.
Right.
And that is what we are saying, that yes, you can let people work overtime, but also make sure that the people cannot work more than 40 hours than the original 40 hours. In other words, people cannot work more than 80 hours a week. Which is also practical, isn't it? Because you can't let a person work double 16 hours a day. More than that. Maybe 16 hours a day. So you start the work from 7 o'clock, and then we'll close like how many? 7 to, is it
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock or 10 p.m.?
Yeah.
So that may be reasonable, but beyond that, we can't do that. So that is what it's saying. I hope that ends. If somebody says 24-hour economy, 24-hour economy is not for human beings. It's for machines. 24-hour economy is for rotation. So some are working 8 hours, then they go to bed. Others will come and work for the next 8 hours. It doesn't mean that you are working consistently like that. Okay, do you understand now?
Yes, please, sir. Okay.
All right. So let's go to the guy who was asking this question, or it was the same you. Okay. Now let me ask you the question.
I have a question.
Right.
Please, for clarity on my mind, can we say the allowable increase are always constant among all the variables? In this case, labor and milk, or it will vary depending on the conditions available?
It will vary depending on the conditions available. For each equation, there will be a different allowable increase and decrease.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay, let's go to the next question. The next question is, what if management can increase profit by either increasing labor hours by 20 or gallons of milk by 40? Which one should they go for? If you have understood all this discussion, you should be able to address this question. They have the choice of increasing labor hours by 20 or gallons by 40. Which one should they go for?
Labor hours.
Labor.
Please raise your hand and tell me exactly why. Because it's not guesswork, it's mathematical calculation. Okay. Me, Richard.
Say labor hours because one unit of labor hour will give us this thing 16, and one of this thing gallons will give us 6 or so. I'm not seeing the board now. It will give us 6. So when you multiply that by 20, you see labor is more profitable to.
Don't tell me what it's more. Give me the values.
Okay. If you increase labor by 20, 8 and 16, you are going to get. So let me do my calculation. Sorry.
So can you please project the question?
Yes. And project it.
To project the question.
No, the
sensitivity analysis report.
Yes, please.
I think you said project the question. This is it.
Yes. So 16 by 20. So we'll have 320 for that, and 40 by 6. 40 by 6. We have
240.
You have 240, sir. So therefore, it's more advisable to increase labor, which is BB 320. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So that's good. So you can understand. I can see some other hands. If you have a question on this, you can ask. So this is it. So that's why we have to go for labor, because it will give us more profit. That is, profit is going to rise by 320 than 240. Now, find the sensitivity range for the objective function as well as for the constraint. So I want you to calculate the objective function at the sensitivity range. The sensitivity range for Fan Yogo is given like this. So you will have to write the upper bound. First, you need the lower bound for Fan Yogo. So it's a lower bound for Fan Yogo, less than or equal to the sensitivity range for Yogo, less than or equal to the upper bound for Fan Yogo. The upper bound and the lower bound will tell you. And how do you calculate it? You have to just use the allowable decrease and increase. The allowable increase and allowable decrease. So I'm going to do one, then I'll tell you to do the other. if I were to calculate the sensitivity range for Fan Yogo, what it means is that I am looking at this objective coefficient, which is 40. I'm looking at the lower value of the 40 and the upper value of the 40. If I want to know the lower value, I'll subtract this 15 from the 40. So the lower value is going to be 40 minus 15, less than or equal to the sensitivity range for Yogo, less than or equal to the upper bound. The upper bound is going to be what? Who can tell me? What, Eric?
I think it would be 40 plus 26.667.
Exactly. 40 plus 26.67. That's how it's going to be. And so you can now subtract and add them, and you're going to get 35 here, and you're going to get 66.7. What does this mean? What does this mean?
Please, is 25 on the
25.
25.
Good. 25. You're going to get 25 on the lower bound, and then you calculate a lot of this in the exam. What does this mean? This is what this means. It means that as long as the coefficient of Fan Yogo, which currently is 40, as long as this value is dancing between 25 and 66, as long as that is dancing between 25 and $66, the optimal solution will not change. Take note. The optimal solution will not change. What do I mean by the optimal solution? The optimal solution are the 24 and the 80. They will remain the same. So even if I change this 40, I move it to 50, whilst this one is still remaining 50, this 24 and 8 will remain the same. If I change it and I change this thing from 40 to 30, it will still remain 24 and 8. But the moment I go beyond or below the upper and lower bound, then the optimal solution of 24 and 8 will change. That is why we say it's sensitivity range. That's why it's okay. So the sensitivity range here for the variable cells, it is talking about how this coefficient is changing up and down. Okay. What about the sensitivity range for the constraint? The sensitivity range for the constraint, yes, Godfred.
So, look, Mr. I have a question. So, if we explain the sensitivity range as, for example, what we got 25 less than or equal to the sensitivity of Yogo less than or equal to 66.67, and we have values dancing between these two values. So, why is it not 25 greater than or equal to the sensitivity rate less than or equal to the 66.67?
Why is it what?
Why is it not 25 less than greater than or equal to the sensitivity rate? Hello?
You said why is what, not that?
So you mentioned the lower band less than or equal to the sensitivity range, less than or equal to the upper bound.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so now the explanation you've given where the value, any value we choose, that is between 25 to 66.67 should not affect our final value. So if we are using less than or equal to, it means that we can have a value that can be less than or equal to the lower band.
No, we can't have a value less than the lower band. What makes you think that you should have a value less than the lower band?
So I'm looking at the expression we have.
Expression means that SFS is between those two.
Okay.
It's not greater. Okay. They are all less than or less in between.
Right. Okay. Great. Okay. So it's in relation to the sensitivity function. Okay. Right. Thank you.
All right. I saw another hand. Good. Now let's go to the constraint. But please note, even though we are saying that the final value or the optimal solution will not change as long as we are within the sensitivity band, we must put on pause that the profit will still change, the Z value will still change. Because you have increased the thing, you have increased the coefficient. So obviously the Z value will change. But what we are saying is that the final value, the optimal solution will not change. Keep that in mind. Okay. We can say the same thing for the other ones using the allowable increase as well as the allowable decrease. So let me ask some quick questions towards this end. As long as any change in the constraint is within the sensitivity range, what happens? The constraint. As long as the change in the constraint, and when I say constraint here, I'm talking about the right-hand side of the constraint. Because remember, the increasing and decreasing was about what is here, vertically. So on the variable cell, it was about the coefficient, objective coefficient. On the constraint side, it's about the right-hand side. Okay. So as long as we are within the sensitivity range for labor and for milk, question is, what happens? What happens? You know, for the coefficient, we said that the optimal solution will not change, but the profit will change. What about this one? For this one, we can say that it will affect both the optimal solution and it will also affect the constraint side, sorry, the profit or the Z value. So in other words, everything will change. When it comes to this, suppose you change labor, everything will change. Suppose you change the other one, everything will change. And we can demonstrate that, but because of time, I will not do that. I'm going to check it on you. Next question. Are there any wastages in this company? Are there any wastages in this company? We've looked at Farmer Ghana Limited for long. Are there any wastages there? Any wastages? Bernard?
No, sir, because slack is 0. That is the final value for constraints equals the right-hand side of the constraints for both constraints.
Excellent. Excellent. You are understanding what we are doing. You are understanding. Are there any milk leftovers? Anybody? Are there any milk leftovers? These are questions to see whether you'll be following all this one. Are there any milk? Eric?
No, because the slack is 0 as well for milk.
Which is the most critical resource for raising profit? Anybody? Eric?
Labor.
Labor.
Is it Eric who spoke or somebody just speaking in there?
Yeah, labor.
Okay. Next question. And this is tricky. If the manager of Farmer Ghana Limited can secure more labor, so we're going to get more labor at $16 or 16 cedis every hour. How much more can be obtained before the solution mix would change and the current shadow price is no longer valid? How much more? If the manager can secure more labor, how much more can be obtained before the optimal solution mix will change? In other words, what is going to make the optimal solution change? You said this thing partly before. Bernard.
So any allowable increase above 40 will cause the solution to change. Hello?
Yeah, it's good. That's the answer. I mean, I understand you, but I hope they also understand. But that's what you said. The answer is about the upper limit of the sensitivity range. The manager can secure 40 more hours. The allowable increase, is showing that. Beyond that, then the shadow price is no longer valid. Okay, guys, if you don't understand, you can ask. Next question. This is the most critical question for today. Assume that fine yogo was rather 0 instead of the 24, with a reduced cost of -5 and per unit profit of 40. And fine choco was 20 instead of the 8, with a reduced cost of 0 and a per unit profit of 90. By how much would the profit contribution of fine yogo has to increase before it will be profitable to produce it? By how much would the profit contribution of fine yogo has to go up before it becomes sensible to produce it? You said this already. But it's not because you said this already, it's because you understand it now. Jason.
It's 46.
But give me what they gave you. I know you are speaking from the Excel, but that is not true. Give me what they gave you. Manuela.
Yeah, please, it's by 5.
Exactly. So the question is, by how much will profit contribution has to increase? It has to increase by 5.
Oh, okay.
And that means that the profit contribution has to go to what value? Manuela.
What's the name?
It has to go to what value? Verify. And please check, you will also notice that it is always the sensitivity range. It is always going to be the upper bound of the sensitivity range. Don't forget that. This question will always mean that, in fact, there are 2 ways of calculating this. You take the 40, which is a coefficient. We're talking about this 40. Okay. You take this 40, which is a coefficient, minus the -5 they've given you. Okay. And that will also be the same value as the upper bound of the sensitivity range. I'm not using this one because this is not, the question is not about this. So take note. That is a minimum contribution. In other words, the minimum value that will make somebody now want to produce the thing that wasn't being produced before. That is how you address that sort of question. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the entire caboodle. Any questions so far?